Here's another short video of another mod that I'm doing on my car. I'm currently doing TGV deletes with down pipe, external wastegate, up pipe, and equal length header. And I'm also doing the air pumps delete, but I was going to go over it real quick just to show you guys. I didn't really see any videos on YouTube, so I'm going to go ahead and explain just real quick what I did and how it's supposed to be run. If you noticed here, this is a barometric pressure sensor. You want to leave that hooked up to the vehicle. If you don't, it's going to start running like crap. So there's another pump here that I took off, or rather a solenoid. So that one actually has a rubber hose that connects to the bottom of this guy right here. It's a little hard to see. So this solenoid, I just left it in plugged in because what people are doing is they're cutting the top of this sensor off, and then they're going to leave that hooked up to the car and zip tie it, and then they can remove the solenoid. It just makes it easier for me. I don't have to cut anything and ruin anything. That sensor I think is about 350 bucks online, so I don't want to have to replace it. So really quick, if you're trying to figure out what sensor I'm talking about or where it's at, if you look right here, you can see the reservoir for the brake fluid, like literally about 8 inches maybe to the left. You'll see the sensor right up top. You do have to remove the intercooler. There's a wire hooked up to it, and there's also another harness down here. It's right here. I've already disconnected it. So just so I can give you a better view of what it looks like, I'm going to go underneath the vehicle, kind of show you. And I don't really do much editing or anything, so just going to go ahead and show you real time. I'm not going to edit anything. So if you look at the top from the bottom of the vehicle, you can see the brake booster, and you can also see the steering linkage right here, or the steering column, whatever you want to call that. I can't think about it right now. Anyway, straight up, if you look in, you can see right there that bolt. That is where the air pump connects to the block. That is going to be the first point where you put the block off plate. And if you look a little bit up to the top there, you can see that solenoid I was talking about with the hose that I removed. So, let's see if I can get my... Try not to make too long of a video, but right here is where your first one will go, the block off plate. There's a few different types of block off plates you can get, some with gaskets, some without. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm obviously just going to run the block off plate. If you look up here, you can see where the other sensor goes, right here. And this is the other place where you can block off. This here, my tuner said you don't have to put anything there, you don't have to block anything off. Because there's not going to be anything running to it. Here's where the other opening is at. You don't have to block that off either. You can leave that open like that. Just leave that sensor in place. So as we stay underneath the vehicle, I'm just going to go ahead and slide over to the passenger side. And again, directly under the vehicle, underneath the turbo. For this one, you'll have to remove the downpipe in order to access the bolts. But if you look straight ahead right there, you can see the other secondary air pump. That is the other location. If you notice that little silver pipe with that little foil looking thing around it, that is actually an extension tube that runs over to the driver's side. So for that, if you wanted to, you could remove it, but it's a little hard to get out. So instead of removing it, I just took it apart there at the block, and I'm going to put the block off plate there. And that silver tube go ahead and runs this way, and it stops right there underneath that other part. So some people, what they do is they'll just go ahead and run the block off plate to the tube itself, and they don't worry about putting it on the block. So that's probably a little bit easier for some. If you're not going to take off the down pipe or the up pipe, you may want to just go ahead and hook it up to this part right here, that silver tube that's right there, and it's got the little tube bolt pattern as well. So either way you look at it, if you want to put the block off plate from the engine block down there, and then that one right there on that pipe that's down there, you can see it, the 2-bolt flange one, you can put the block off there, and that's both your areas. Or if you want to do more clean look, you can go ahead and remove that pipe and put the block off plate on the actual block on this side like I'm doing, and just leave that tube there. And I just went ahead and just tied it in so that it doesn't shake. It is a little bit hard to get to, so I'm not even going to worry about that. If you have any questions, just go ahead and comment or anything, or ask questions down below, and I'll go ahead and answer as best as I can. Thank you.